Well, I'm going to do something that generally would be considered a no-no, or dangerous territory at least, for a wraparound canvas that's not really designed to be framed. I'm going to have a number of vertical trunks here. Some may run off the canvas, some may not. We'll see. I'll probably cap them a little bit with foliage. But often the frame does the job. You know, there's some paintings that suit a frame better because you've got lines running off, and a frame does a nice job of capping everything. A wraparound doesn't quite do that, but we'll do it anyway. I couldn't think of what to paint really, but I know my dad used to say, if you can't figure out what to do, then just paint, which kind of is counterintuitive. As I've also heard, what is it? Plan like a turtle, paint like a rabbit, paint like a hare. I'm just gonna play. That's what I'm gonna do. Have some thoughts in mind. I'm gonna muck around on this canvas. We'll see where it goes. It's kind of fun. I like the effect that you get when you just see some shapes, but not all. I think I'd like a foreground tree here about. Maybe that's a bit light. I think we'll keep this one on the thicker side. I might be a little bit close to center, but we'll see. Excuse me. I'm going to use a little ultramarine blue, a little yellow ochre, a little raw umber to get us going here. That's a lot like a pole, but I'm sort of thinking birch trees, so birch trees don't usually have a lot of thicker limbs coming off of them in the lower reaches, or often in cases they don't. So I'm not going to worry too much about that. For the moment, we're not worrying about a lot of orange showing through. But I suppose, being a birch, I should probably have a few dark spots there, here and there, eh? A few of these knotty areas. Not too much. All right, let's put another one in. Let's see, that's about, I don't want that equidistant. I would like it maybe about here. Back to the ultramarine blue and raw umber. This is really going to be very much like painting in a mud puddle. Painting in a mud puddle. Making a mud pie, how about that? Okay, that's too light on the dark side. I don't want my tree trunks to get too obviously thicker on the bottom always. With some types of trees it's not so bad, but sometimes it doesn't look so good. It's not very natural. I know that technically they do tend to get a little thicker towards the bottom, but often the bulk of the center is very similar in diameter. It even thickens out sometimes where branches will come off and where knots are. And it doesn't get very much thicker until we get to the bottom of the trunk. Let's put a little bit of darker foliage in. Just a few suggestions here and there. Yeah, I know I'm working in the foreground first. Another very unorthodox thing to do. But that's okay. Like I said, I'm just playing. I'm not going to worry too much about orthodoxy at the moment. Okay. Just continuing on that line. We're going kind of greenish with this stuff. That's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. The plan is to play with enough paint that will smudge some paint into other paint instead of, as I usually do, laying paint beside other paint. Oops, why am I putting that there? I should be putting that there. Okay. I'll look back at the camera and make sure I'm recording here. Okay, for the moment. Just thinking of designs here. This is a bit symmetrical, but yeah, we're not going to worry too much about that. In the aid of framing in our focal area, we are going to take a bunch of this ultramarine blue. Add a little burnt sienna, a bit of white, and some yellow ochre, and a little bit of alizarin crimson. Trying to stay a bit on the loose side here. go with burnt sienna, yellow ochre. Otherwise, we're going to end up with really more green than I would like on this painting. Okay, bits and pieces here and there. Might be a bit light. Actually, let's intersect that trunk with a bit of dark stuff. Okay, and then we'll go over that dark stuff with a bit of light stuff. Dribs and drabs, bits and pieces, okay. Those are very roughly our main foreground trees. So, I'm going to lay in a few other suggestions of trunk here and there. Back to our ultramarine blue and our raw umber. Okay, a little thin guy beside him, and he disappears behind the bush. This goes there. I'd like to have something probably about here, ending about there. Okay, so let's see what we can do with that. And yeah, I'm being sloppy. I'm okay with that. I'm really trying to play, and that means, you know, not worrying too much about tightening the painting up. I want this to stay loose. Stay loose, man. Okay. A little more. That's just too light. If I'm going to have some light fall colors in here, I don't want light grays as well. That's where outlines can come in handy, but it's not 100% necessary to outline everything. Well, you know, it depends on the technique you're using on a particular painting, of course. Okay, let's go. Let's go around here somewhere. Curve it out. Oops, that's a sloppy one. So is that. I'm not going to worry too much. Okay. We'll continue to go into the distance here a little bit. Okay, that's what we're going to work with for the moment. Now, just to show you how we're going to be able to make these trunks pop, because they're not popping now, as you know. Look at some of the strength we still have, you know. We have not played our cards, we have not played all of our cards by a long shot. We can still bump it up like that, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to reserve the bulk of that for the end of the painting. But that just illustrates the, you know, illustrates how much more strength we can throw into there when the time comes. Okay, I'm going to clean off my mixing area. I'd like to clean it up a little bit because I'm using some grays and some greens now, and I would like to start again with a fresh, clean surface. Okay, now what I should have done before I started this was squeezed out some cadmiums onto my palette, actually, and a little more alizarin crimson too. So let's just have a look here. I must have some kicking around. Well, of course I do. Okay. Oh, cad red light, that's not one that I want. Actually, forgive the jitteriness. I'm just going to show you what a mess my palette is right now. And contemplate on what a messy person I am while I'm doing this. Oh. Use my little pair of channel lock pliers to loosen that lid. Obviously I haven't been using this paint for a while. Yeah, it's a little oranger than I like, but it's okay. We'll work with it. What is that? Cadmium yellow hue, it says. Winton. Alright. And this is an old Rembrandt color. Cad Yellow Deep. It's pretty orangey as well. It's very close to that. But I'll bet I'll be surprised when I mix this one with other colors versus that one with other colors. I'll bet you this comes out much more intensely. So we're going to put it on there. Funny, what one company calls deep, the other might call medium, or even light at times. Now I like this stuff. This is Talons, another old tube. I'll be a little bit sparing with this because I know I like that for more highlights. I don't even know if I have any more Cad Yellow Pale actually. I might not even. Might not even have any. Yeah, there's a tiny bit. You know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. But let's put on a little bit more cadmium red medium. Probably won't use very much of it, but certainly a little. Okay, back up to our painting. I'm going to dip into the cad yellow, or sorry, the yellow ochre first, and a touch of alizarin crimson. Yeah, I'll put in a little bit of cad orange too. Why not? I'm going to avoid doing too much mixing here. That's a bit blasé. But see, I'm starting blasé because when I jump into my CADs here, it's not going to look so blasé. We'll see some differences. We'll definitely see some differences happening. So I'm kind of starting off with the weaker shades of fall colors. Okay, I'm going to put a little more, I'm going to put a little burnt sienna in there. Let's take cad orange, medium. Let's take burnt sienna. Let's lay a little bit of white maybe. Let's start to indicate maybe some sunlight spilling across the forest floor here in places. That color doesn't look very different from the last, did it? From the last stuff I put on. Okay, it's not different enough. So, I'm going to throw a hint of cad red medium in there. Against a wash-in this strong, these fall colors don't exactly pop. You know, if I had a raw umber or a burnt umber wash-in, these colors would really start to pop. But they'll start to show up more as we get more of that orange covered. So I'm just kind of bearing that in mind as we go along. Here's a little bit of the higher quality cad orange medium. This should pop a little more. Yep. So as this painting moves along, you know, the bulk of this washing will disappear, but there will be so many places where it shows through. Hopefully it'll provide a bit of a sparkle throughout the whole painting, helping to sort of unite the painting. Okay. Keeping my mixing pile very clean here now. Getting into cadmiums, when you mix cadmiums with other colors, they more easily tend to go dirty, in my view. Now, if I keep up with my cadmiums all over the place, nothing's going to pop because, you know, it's that saying, when everything is special, then nothing is special. You need that one against the other. You need a low value against a high value. You need a lower chroma against a higher chroma. Or you'll end up with nothing. Yellow ochre. We will, let me see, put a little more up there as well. Whew, shake sometimes. Sometimes I shake way more than I would like to. Okay, let's see. Let's put a little more yellow ochre in here. Yellow ochre in here. A little yellow ochre with titanium white, maybe. I'm using probably a brush that is, or a knife that is ridiculously too large for the job. But you know, people have used larger knives for smaller paintings. It's just that I have so many different objects in here. You know, it's not like a beach or a sunset where you can just swish around. I kind of have to keep the subject matter relatively clearly defined. Blob in the corner there, a little blob there. Blob, good old blob. Blob takes care of a lot of small problems. Pretty dirty there. I'm not going to worry too much about it though. Okay. Maybe what we will do is introduce some alizarin crimson and a little bit of ultramarine blue, because we're into the greenish yellows quite a bit here, and I don't mind that, but you know what looks really nice is a little bit of purple along with these things. So purple, mauve, whatever you want to call it. So let's put a dash in here and there of that. cleaner purple now if we can. More alizarin crimson. A little more ultramarine blue. Bit of white. I'm using a fair bit of alizarin crimson in this. Let's cut that across there as well. Hey, why not? And some for the foreground to tone that foreground down. Keep our attention focused more in this area. A little bit of cad red medium this time. A little bit of cobalt blue mixed with the cad red medium. And some white. Getting a little bit pinkish now. I know it doesn't look very pink. That's because it's set against the orange, that's why. Okay. Let's try a hint of quinacridone magenta in there. Just because I may want to reference it for a few strokes in the future. Yeah, that's very pink, which it's okay, but I think that might be enough. Might be enough for good, but we don't know that yet. Okay, so that's a bit light. Burnt sienna. Burnt sienna and white. Not going to show up very much because that's basically our wash-in as well. But it shows up differently. Okay, burnt sienna, white, and alizarin crimson. Excuse me. Okay, getting a bit smeary here. Yeah. Let me just tidy that up. Oh, starting to spread the ink all over my hand here. Okay, a little cad yellow light and burnt sienna. Trying to stay in control of things a little bit here. Not too much. I don't want it to look contrived or anything, but you know, we gotta have some crowd control or things will just get out of hand. Whoops. Whoops. What's going on there? Picked up some green, obviously. I would like that stroke to be cleaner than it is. Okay, cad orange medium. I might lose you. I see my battery is almost at an end here. But I wanted at least to get enough information on here to show you what I was up to, and so that you can see the intention of this one is not to be tightly organized. It is again an attempt. Well, it's not an attempt at a study. It is a study, because I'm playing with various colors here. Now what I'm going to do, hopefully before I run out of battery juice here, is get my fingers away, because I don't know how, but I'm getting lovely oil paint all over my hands, which is not the worst. The problem is that once it's on your hands, it gets everywhere. It'll be on the ceiling, on the floor, on my cheeks, between my toes, everywhere. So just give my palette a quick wipe here in one spot, because I would like to redefine. Whoops, I need to add a little bit of alizarin crimson. No, a little bit of ultramarine blue. And that tube is messy, and I have paint all over my fingers again. Okay, one of these days I'll actually get it together. Okay, a bit of ultramarine blue, a bit of raw umber, touch of white, just a touch of white. Because I would like to get I'd like to get organized a little bit better on these trees. Showing the dark and the light side a little more. Not solid. Not not solid all the way up, but some you want to stand out more than others. Yeah, let's put a couple of strokes of light on this foreground one here. Okay, white. Touch of ultramarine blue. A little bit of yellow ochre, not too much. Break that dark line up a little. I don't want this whole thing to be too light all the way from top to bottom. You know, that's not really a very good way of doing things. Because you'll end up with telephone poles, and if you're not painting telephone poles, if you're not literally painting telephone poles, then don't paint telephone poles. Breaking up the geometry here a little bit. Okay, that's going to get tightened up a little bit, but hopefully, you know, I have to cover the bottom here as well, but like I said, my battery's almost done, so we'll just shut that down for the day, or for the moment anyways, and we'll revisit it once we are a little further along. But I like it so far. Nice and happy and colorful. Talk soon.